Good morning and welcome back to another week of the Corona Diaries that are just rolling and are showing no signs of stopping. So again, thank you if you're still watching at this what is perceived to be late stage in the game. I really do appreciate the fact that these are still getting views on YouTube. So this morning's episode is called I Hate Mondays. And I really do hate Mondays. So much so that this video is being recorded on a Wednesday. Because I know for a fact I would not have it in the locker on a Monday morning, or in fact at any point on a Monday, to record this video. I just know I wouldn't feel confident. I probably wouldn't feel positive enough. I'd probably have a lot more anxieties than normal. And I would admit that if I was to identify what I consider to be my weakest attribute when it comes to business, it's the fact that I wish the beginning of the week was as strong as my end of the week. When I get to about Tuesday afternoon, I feel like a different person. I really do. That's when my creativity starts flowing. That's when my positivity starts flooding back in. That's when I start to really feel as though we are getting somewhere. However, Mondays are a different story. Now, just in case you hadn't realised why, it is very one-dimensional, and some might say a little sad. But the reality of the situation is, being real, I fucking love having a bevy at the weekend. Love it. Those of you who know my organisation, my culture well, you'll know that Friday 4 p.m. bevies, beers, bowl of nuts on everybody's desk. We hit it, we open those cans at 4 o'clock on the dot without fail. It's like a religion. That just oils the cogs to essentially what is in the majority, me having a really fantastic, great, relatively boozy weekend. I enjoy it. It relaxes me. I just like having a bevy, I'm not an alkie. I just enjoy a drink. And then when Monday hits you, Monday mornings ain't too bad actually. It's when you get to about mid-morning, early afternoon. I am struggling. And I think it's really important, firstly, to just kind of admit that, because I think you can probably watch these videos and think I don't have an off day. I really do. And everyone around me that knows that Monday Dan is a thing. And I also think it's important to mention this simply because I've been analysing my Mondays and I feel as though I'm getting a bit better at getting through them. And I've been really thinking about why I believe that is. And I think the number one trick to getting yourself through whatever your version of my Mondays is, is structure. 100%. It's the structure that you have built into your lifestyle and your day. Because these days, a lot of time spent doubting yourself, a lot of time spent worrying, maybe a bit of anxiety. I'm not saying that everybody has a bad Monday, but this is a more general concept of how important the structure is. And it's very, very important when the going's good, but it's imperatively important when the going is bad. And it's on these days that I am eternally grateful that my structure is really, really rigid. And this is what today's episode is all about. It's all about a little byproduct of having a great structure in your day. You know, I hear a lot of people saying that they always start well, and then they probably hit that novelty curve and the structure falls off. And then those dark days can become dark weeks and even months. And I want to promote the fact that if you can put a rigid structure in place, it gives you something to focus on rather than maybe the negative, derogatory, counterproductive thoughts that you've got in your head. So when I wake up on a Monday morning now with my new lockdown routine, I don't think about it. I don't want to go for my morning walk, but I go. Yeah? I don't want to read my book on a Monday night, but I read my book. I don't really want to do my meditation when it's probably the most important day to do my meditation, but I do my meditation because it's my structure. It keeps me on the straight and narrow. And I really, really implore you to put a structure in place for two reasons. And that's when the going's good, because a structure will allow you to fly. It acts as a springboard. It acts as a real nice framework to be creative. The things we've spoken about in the past. But on the days when you feel like shit, the structure almost comes into its own. It allows you to get through that day and not on the Tuesday or the Wednesday or after the funk has passed, look back on the time and think, fuck me, I just completely wasted that time. If you follow a structure, you can focus on a structure rather than your thoughts. That's the theory behind today. And I just want to end by just sharing with you something that I believe to be true. And I think we need to consider as adults, and hopefully this might, I don't know, strike a nerve with some of you. Because at some point in our time, from us going from being children to being adults, we have decided that the structure and the discipline that we know to be incredibly beneficial for the small people in our world, yeah, the most happy, content, productive little kids are the ones who have a rigid structure. They have that springboard. The ones who don't have a bedtime, who don't have a routine, who don't have any discipline, who aren't taught manners, tend to be the least happy kids. And at some point during our development from then to now, we have decided that those rules don't apply to us. And I believe the exact opposite to be true. The happiest, most content, most productive, most positive people in the world have got a really nice framework around their day. And I think you should do everything in your power if your structure is loose, lax, or just a bit shit to put it in place, stick to it, get over the novelty curve, and enjoy it when the going's good and times are hard. Catch up tomorrow.